So as you can see in this slide, so total addressable market is close to $12 billion in 2025, and that's a huge number. And they not only use the word TAM, they also use the word SAM, which is serviceable area market, wherein उनका आज के दिन जो product suit है, जो current situation है, and where they are present today, how much of that market they can actually serve. They can't serve the whole market, but they can probably serve a part of it. So उसका भी यहाँ पे किया हुआ है कि around $8 billion is something which they believe that they will be able to serve by 2025. Right? So that is how big the opportunity is in this sector. This is one of my favorite slides from their presentation, because just look at how they are present in across the value chain. OTAs देख लो, airlines देख लो, hotel chains देख लो, package provider देख लो, car rentals देख लो, cruise lines देख लो, everything देख लो, सब जगह पे they have all the big names you can think of, right? You are not seeing Indian hotels names for a reason. We'll cover that later. So what are their future plans? Their future plans are very clear. Right now, MarTech is the division which is growing the fastest. So it is growing somewhere around 70-80% का growth आ रहा है उसमें year on year, right? So this is where they will be focusing on, and they believe they can, even though this is one division where their gross margins are the lowest. So right now the gross margin of MarTech is around 60%, which they believe that they will be able to scale this business and move towards say 65 to 70. But in their DaaS and distribution business, they have gross margins in excess of 90%. और जो 10% भी आप सोच रहे हो कि कहाँ लग रहा है, so most of it is in the data center and all. So that is how lucrative this business is, right? So MarTech में सबसे बड़ा advantage MarTech का अभी ये है कि MarTech is actually their newest division, and they have a huge cross-sell opportunities. Right now, 13% of their what do I say? Distribution customers use MarTech, and similar kind of percentages in case of the DaaS customers using the MarTech. So just look at the cross sell. आप नए कस्टमर को तो भूल जाओ कि नया कस्टमर कितना एक्वायर करेंगे and all. Even within the same organization, within RateGain, they have huge opportunity to just cross sell these three products. So मतलब MarTech DaaS को भी देना है और डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन वाली कंपनी को भी देना है, एंड सिमिलरली डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन वाला जो इनका ये है बिजनेस है, they can cross sell to the MarTech customers which they have hired because of their My Hotel Shop acquisition, right? So that is the kind of huge cross sell opportunity, and probably the biggest driver of value for RateGain in the coming years is this cross sell opportunity, because यहाँ पे they don't have to worry about too much about external thing, because customer is already there with you within your organization, right? Scale DaaS and distribution offering, obviously, but so even though distribution and DaaS, they have a much higher gross margin, but in distribution and DaaS, the growth is much lower than what it is in case of MarTech. So they're trying to build capabilities so that they can further grow these two offering as well. And the beauty of their model is they are completely asset light in all these three things. They will only need funds for acquisition. If they want to acquire a customer, वहां पे उनको funds की जरूरत पड़ सकती है. Right now they have a good funds available for them with them. But in future, if they want to grow, they'll have to look for funds. That's a different matter. We'll go together. That will come later. But आज के दिन अगर आप बात करो, at the current stage of their business, they don't need any extra fund, because all these three business throws up a lot of cash, and they are self-sustainable on their own. In fact, distribution business is their cash cow. जहाँ पे कुछ खर्चा है ही नहीं, वहाँ पे आराम से उनको cash flows आ जाते हैं, right? So strategic investment and acquisition opportunity. So this and the next slide, which I'll be covering now, this is probably the most important part of their journey of RateGain. So I think if you just subtract Disco, BCV, and My Hotel Shop from RateGain, it will become a very ordinary company, right? And we all know, we are all students of finance and investing. We know how difficult M&A is, not just in terms of valuing the company whom you are acquiring, but also in terms of integrating the operations, right? And then if you are buying a sick unit or a sick company, then turning it around is also a big challenge, right? So that is where we believe that the biggest advantage of a player like RateGain is this, that they have a great team in place. So if you look at their CFO, Tanmay Das. Okay, so Tanmay Das in his previous stint was, I think, working with ENY also. ENY or Pricewaterhouse, I'm forgetting which of the companies. But he has an excellent track record in M&A. Okay, so, and there is an interesting story of Disco. I've already covered the Disco story earlier. So what they always believe in, we had in our personal interaction with Tanmay Das, he revealed to us that at any point of time they are looking at somewhere around 100 companies to acquire, and then they zero in on one. That is the kind of preparation they do, and he is very mindful of the fact that he says that 90% to 95% of M&As fail. So we are very, very, very disciplined when we are buying a company. They never overpay. That is the biggest discipline they have. So I've already shared in the Disco example. They let the Disco acquisition go to the competitor because they thought that no, we'll not pay that much for the company. And luckily, 6 months later, Disco was presented to them at a even more conservative value, and that is where they turn it around. But the biggest important fact is they will never buy. That is what they say. What we as investors have to see is whether they continue this discipline or not, because many a times management project to you a certain discipline or a certain way of doing things, and probably they start on that journey as well, but later on in the quest of growth they forget these principles. That is where our work as investors come in. We have to keep on analyzing what is the price they are paying. Are they paying now higher? See, if the management tomorrow buys acquires a company at say 3 times sales rather than 1.5 times, they will definitely give you a very good how do I say? They will give you a very good reason why they have paid more for that. But you as an investor, or we as an investor, we have to understand that, see, this is where management is changing their track, and we should be very mindful of that, and we track it even more closely, right? So what the CEO says, Bhanu Chopra says in all his calls, is that 3 things they look at in terms of acquisition. या तो वो प्रोडक्ट की सबसे पहले इनके प्रोडक्ट में वो कैपेबिलिटी होना चाहिए कि इट विल बी एबल टू मर्ज दैट न्यूली एक्वायर्ड कंपनी. सेकंड, अगर प्रोडक्ट है तो फिर उसके बाद ज्योग्राफिकल पेनिट्रेशन मिलना चाहिए. सो दे आर ऑलरेडी वेरी वेल पेनिट्रेटेड इन द नॉर्थ अमेरिकन मार्केट. से समथिंग गिव्स देम a very good penetration in somewhere like the South Asian market, which is also a very good travel destination. वहां पे भी कोई अच्छा penetration मिला. So then they will look at that kind of opportunity. And the third